Hey all, so War 10, and the fun thing here is that because our opponents placed this Conduit Defender on right back at it, which removes all debuffs, we didn't really have to worry about the knockdown part of it. And funnily enough, that meant that the best counter that I had for it was America Chavez. Because her power control does not rely on sticking debuffs, unlike most opponents. And while she does have energy damage in her kit, which you will see me forget once or twice, um, her basics are still physical, and so she is going to ramp just fine against this Hyperion and do plenty of damage. I mean, you can see we're already doing really, really well here. Now, the thing about Chavez in her current form is that those secondary stacks you get of her dimensions really do not work terribly or do not last terribly long. The penalty to them is fairly steep. And so, if you are trying to maintain total power control over a Hyperion, you're going to need to throw more heavies than you would maybe want to. But as long as you keep that in mind, it's okay. Now, what I should have done here, instead of what I did, which was cancel the special 2, which is almost all energy, is I should have just finished that heavy. And it probably would have pushed me red because he would have had another buff expiring, but then I just could have thrown that. And because special 3s are not typed as far as damage, I mean, it would have killed him even before he could heal. But even if he had survived, he wouldn't have regened any of it because it's a special 3. Anyway, it was a ton of fun to bring America. She was fantastic for that fight. Moving on. We have this black cat on an intercept node. Obviously, the joke is that if you intercept her while she's duped, she's going to evade you. But she's made of glass and doesn't really have many other defensive capabilities. So I put on an invuln and I practiced the intercepts before coming in here. But basically, my plan was, if I see an easy spot for it, I'll go for the intercept. I'll take protection down, but I'm not going to worry about it because Hyperion's going to do this. It's been 30 seconds and she is half down, and we have not dropped protection. Now, the thing is that we are probably going to have her end the heist once, especially if she does this and decides to stall for a little bit, and that is going to put a sabotage on us, which means that when this doesn't stun, because of course it doesn't, we can't really close out the fight immediately, so we're going to take a little bit of damage trying to dex right there. But we're also going to be getting willpower healing. We're going to throw this special too. Like, basically that sabotage just meant that this fight took not even 90 seconds, I don't think, but roughly 90 seconds instead of less than a minute. This is just not a difficult fight. And I could have gone for more heavy counters, and more just straight up heavies, honestly, but I was just playing it super safe there. I knew I had to use hype later. The goal was to get through it with minimal health loss, not with maximum fanciness. And then we have Overseer here. So Valkyrie in general is good for Overseer because once she gets a bulwark up, she goes stun immune, and so you don't have to worry about accidentally hitting into his shield and triggering his auto block. That part is very nice. She has shrugging of non-damaging debuffs, and so can actually get rid of his special concussions. And then on this node in particular, you can go for the intercept if it lines up, similar to the previous fight. You don't necessarily need it, but the important thing about her here is that her damage does not rely on debuffs, and so you do not have to worry about Mighty Charge. Note the special concussion getting purified there. We hit in, he auto blocks, but we're immune to stun. Now we finally get the protection down, but he is a bit of a jerk and immediately throws the special. So he does auto block. I don't keep hitting into it because sometimes the AI is a little bit weird about auto block, so I just didn't want to mess with it. It would be nice to get the protection down again before throwing the special too, but I also know that it's going to do a good amount of damage even if I don't. Let's see if this can go. We're going to try and trigger the auto block here, and there. Alright, now we just need him to block, and big damage. Doesn't quite finish it, but if we can get one more block hit, there we go. So yeah, Valkyrie's good for that in general. That is another fight you can definitely do without ever dropping protection. She will just kill him into his block. Class advantage goes a very long way, and she has the other advantages we already talked about. And then the main reason that we brought Valkyrie, we have this Galan here. Same as last war. The idea is to never knock him down, and so never to trigger Conduit. Now, one thing that Bittersteel did mention to me in the comments of my last video where I took this fight was that if you are trying to get the opponent to block more often, and Lord knows I was, because I had the most aggressive Galan of all time last war, then exactly as they dash back, you should also dash back, and it makes them a little bit more likely to hold block for a bit. So you will see me trying that here. The other difference in what I'm doing is that I did throw the special one. I don't know what those hits into the air was. I think I tried to throw a medium and it just executed as a light, so that was fun. Anyway, I threw the special one with the aim of getting the bulwark up earlier so that I had more effects going into my first special too. And I do think that that is helping us a little bit here, but I also definitely should have inverted my combo a little bit sooner, because then I would have had 2 bulwarks when he threw that first special one, and it would have reduced the block damage. Now this was just rude. It really thought that he was going to block, and instead he just sidesteps me, hits me, gains 4 extra buffs, so that's going to hurt when he next goes into the harvest. Don't love that, but not going to freak out about it, because we know from the last time we took this, we can survive 2 harvests pretty cleanly. Even with the combo that we took, that special 2 does a lot more than the last one, or than the first one did in the last video, because we are a bit more ramped. And it turns out to be the only special 2 we need. So I think the last fight, we ended up throwing 2 special 2s, so that's 4 bars of power. This time, we only needed 3. So a little bit better, despite the fact that we got hit in the face. I consider that an improvement. Now, I definitely could have taken Nick here with Hyperion. He is a better counter. But I was also pretty sure that Valkyrie was going to be fine for it, and I have Hyperion for the boss. And I was honestly trying to save some health. Now, I wouldn't do that if I thought there was a real chance of dying, but this node is all about unblockable special 2s and about ability power. Nick has no ability power. His special 2 is easily dexable, and it's the one that you prefer to deal with anyway. So really the only thing he gets here is Aspect of Evolution. Now that's going to make his block damage in his second life nasty, because it's usually nasty and he's just going to have more attack and more block penetration. But that's really the only challenge. Additionally, I did throw the special 1. I like the special 1 like I mentioned in the last fight, but remember that Nick has anti-evade tech while he has more than, I think it's 5 and more tactical charges, and that's why we waited for some to fall off before we inverted our combo into block, because we didn't want him to catch us on the evade. That evade is Valkyrie's only safety mechanism when she ends a combo into block, so make sure that you are not facing somebody who's turning off evade. But we got a really nice special 2 there. We had 8 effects up for it. Or, sorry, I think the Fury only gave us credit for 7, but then we also gained the Bulwark. So we've handled this first life really, really well. But you know Nick, he's definitely gonna pull some shenanigans going to the second one. Block damage is already worse with that Fury. You know he's gonna throw this special 1 rather than just back up and play nice. Take a little bit there. And of course he just does not back up at all. So this one was pretty rough. I knew he was gonna go for another heavy here. The thing about that trick with dashing back when they dash back to try and make the block is that it only works if they dash back. And I'm sure he did once somewhere in, backing me up to the wall without me going and looking at it again. But it really did not feel like it, and it was rare enough that I did not have a chance to react to it. So that is on me. I probably should have, I don't know, blocked and baited him into a heavy earlier so that I could have landed some hits, tried to back him up, build some distance that way. I could have avoided getting heavied in the corner, even with him being a jerk. That is on me. But, like I said, it was otherwise a safe enough fight that even getting hit after he gained those bars of power did not cost us. And then we have Hyperion versus Terrax. You've seen me do this several times. This is clearly a Sig 200 Terrax with where the power starts. We have Reed pre-fight so that we start with Sick and Tired online, which is clearly a good thing, because our first Incinerates, or our first special ones, did nothing. But then we finally get some up here. We're starting to do a little bit more damage. We're going to go for the heavy counter here. I've been trying to get that a little more clean. That also helps us keep the Reed pre-fights up, so we don't have to worry about unblockable. And in that exchange, we get pushed to our special 3. But that's okay. That's not a failing as much as I say to focus on the special 1, because you kind of assume in a fight like this, somewhere in there, you get pushed to the special 3, and it just means you get your cosmic charges online. Which, as I keep saying, are basically just free furies. The way the power gain works out, you usually don't have 3 of them for very long. But if you just think of those cosmic charges as effectively 2 free furies once you throw the special 3, then it's obviously worth it. You can see the Incinerates are clearly doing more damage here. We go for a heavy. Probably just should have gone for a special 1 because we only got 1 fury, but it's gambling. What are you going to do? And we're just going to spam the special 1s, throw furies where we got them, but we are not going to bother countering his heavy. Terrax is just way too fast on his recovery. I think it is technically possible, but absolutely not. We're just going to keep throwing these special 1s. You can see those red numbers really racking up. Reminder that Debuff Siphoner from Mr. Fantastic is improving our Incinerates, helping us ignore some of that energy resistance from the node. And at this point, after Terrax yo-yos back and forth a couple times, I'm like, okay, I guess we're pushing him to his special 2, and we're not worrying about, or no, here is where I decide that. And we're not worrying about heavy countering the special 1. And I see that his health is low enough that, you know what, I'm just going to keep pushing him. He's not going to go red before he dies. We're just not going to worry about this. And turns out he doesn't throw a special at all. So that's what he gets for being stingy. No special for you. And that was my war. It was a very fun one. I'm really enjoying getting more comfortable with Valkyrie, trying her out in more places. And bringing Chavez even for the 1 fight was a blast. Hype continues to be a beast. And we have 2 more wars left. I gotta admit, like a lot of people, I will not be sad to see Conduit go. Some interesting things about it, but it's just... it's been around long enough. So again, hope you guys enjoyed this one, and until the next one, thanks so much for watching, and take care.